Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth, where a mental health nurse and an accountant talk about wealth creation, personal development, and financial independence in the UK to help you live the life you deserve. Hello, and welcome back to episode 39. You have both Alexes here again. This one is titled Money Psychology Part 2. It's a really deep topic. We covered basics of it kind of last week. We're going to add a little bit more about emotional led decisions, kind of relief of thought or feelings. And we're going to talk a bit about money being a tool to solve pain points in life, to make life easier for you. And also a little bit about procrastination. I'll also talk a little bit about my first ever online grocery order. I've never done it before. Previously, I would be going to the store and picking up my own stuff. And I thought this time I would have a go at that. It's due in about 2 hours. So we will see what that's like and whether I continue that or I revert back to going to the store. Firstly, though, before any of that, we've had a listener email, which was lovely. And this is from a chap called Paul with a little bit of feedback for us. So it just says, Hi, Alex and Alex. Really enjoying the podcast. Thanks so much to you for your continued efforts. Firstly, Paul, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time to send us an email, to take out a little bit of your day, just to give us a little bit of positive feedback. It's lovely to read. And rest assured, we will continue in our effort to bring you podcast episodes similar to this. So, Alex, with that, what are your thoughts on kind of using money to alleviate emotions and also using it as a tool to make your life better? Because I think people really they get a little bit muddled on what money is actually for, but in my mind, it's a tool to make life easier.
Yeah, hi Alex and hi everybody. And yeah, Paul, thank you very much for that lovely feedback. And yeah, let us know any questions or episodes that you may want to hear about in the future. That'd be great. And yeah, in terms of money as a tool, I think you're right in that people can get a bit so focused on money itself and accumulating almost a certain balance that you forget that it is a tool to help you. And ultimately, money is money and it's there to exchange for goods and services. And definitely where there are inconveniences in your life or certain pain points, so whether that be it could be you detest ironing and it takes you 5 hours to iron your shirts, and actually you can then, as an alternative, pay, I don't know how much it is to get a dry clean shirt now, 30, 40 quid for the lot. Uh, you can kind of exchange that money and get back time. And I think that's one way of looking at, genuinely solving some of your issues. The same way of having a nice emergency fund sat there, it alleviates a lot of stress when something comes up, whether that be, your car needs a repair or boiler breaks or whatever. It is a tool to help reduce the stress related to that. And but I think marketeers and advertisers can play on this, almost need like creating a problem for yourself that you didn't know you had, and offering you a product to solve that problem. When I think if you to kind of really analyze it and think you probably aren't going to solve a problem. So whether that be the latest, I don't know, air freshener for your house that now automatically releases fragrance every X amount of time, every 20 minutes or so. I think it's an advert I saw the other day. Um, but it's almost like, oh yeah, of course, I now suddenly do not have an air freshener that has this time release and a little flashing light that tells me when it needs filling up. And then it's really not solving a need, it's not solving a problem, but it sounds like it is solving a problem for you. And I mean, that's a very small thing that just came off the top of my head. But so I think it's important to recognize money for what it is, and make sure that you're solving the right pain points for yourself, and not almost being succumb to being believing that every problem that an advertiser tells you is a problem for you, if that makes sense. That's my take on it, Alex.
It does make a lot of sense. And the fact that you've remembered the advert 2, 3, 4 days later means it's done enough to stick in your head. And I think people really miss, not they misunderstand, but I don't think they give enough gravity or weight to the power of repeated views of a similar thing, like advertising does to us. So if I say to you, like a couple of phrases, if I said to you, the washing machines live longer with, you're
Oh,
automatically
Calgon.
right. And then if I say
Yeah,
to you, if you're at work, and if I say to you, take a break, have a
Kit Kat.
correct, right. So that I think,
I have been conditioned.
yeah, basically, but you've not signed up for that. You've basically been like you've viewed these things so many times, and there are thousands of those things like that. I mean, every brand, every product, something like that. Even you and I, we have a tagline at the front of our each podcast episode that said it's delivered by me as a nurse and you as an accountant. That's a thing that's unique to us, and it's the repetition of that which I think helps create a sense of ease in people listening. If it doesn't, and you want something different, yeah, do email us, let me know. But it's something that we can become accustomed to, and we see and hear and are around marketing messages all of the time, constantly. And even if you take your air freshener thing, it's probably going to cost you less than a fiver, right, to buy. But then you're kind of on the hook for buying the repeat infills or whatever you have to stick in when it beeps at you that it's out of I don't know, juice, for want of a better word. And then it's just repeated sales of something like that. It's similar to like printer ink. You buy a printer for it's very cheap, but the ink costs you a fortune, and you're then tied to buying a particular ink, which is where the real money for the kind of manufacturer is made. And it's like brand loyalty creates comfort within things. So if you have, Alex, say when you're going into work in the city, you have a particular brand of shirt or shoes that you really love and they're really comfortable. Next time you need a pair of shoes or a shirt, you're much more likely to go back to that brand because you know it before, you've worn it, it's comfortable, it looks nice, etc. And it's also part of the reason why pubs won't look too carefully at people stealing branded glasses from the pubs. If you go into kind of some houses, you'd find like a branded pint glass with a beer logo on it. The brands will send you those for free, and you're essentially bringing a marketing message home into your house. So then later you're more likely to buy that brand.
Yeah, it's a good point you make on the shirts and shoes. So I mean, I do have a favorite shoe brand, although I only have one pair of them, and I've had them for almost 10 years now, which is a pair of Churches. So I treated myself to them as from passing some of my exams I did, and they're just yeah. If I now want smart shoes and want to, you know I'm going to have a pair that's going to last me for decades, then those would be my go-to. And I think shirts is similar. Like I've worn Charles Tyrwhitt shirts are my I've been wearing those for years. Less and less so now. My current workplace is pretty informal in the office, so I tend to just wear like M&S shirt, and I actually wear like walking trainers because I do so much walking. And I have just a pair of shoes randomly from my neighbor that he gave me for free in my locker at work. So I I tend to do that. But yeah, if I wanted a specific formal shirt, yeah, Charles Tyrwhitt is where I go and is where I recommend people to go. Um, they're yeah, stuff lasts for ages. It's comfy, you feel good in it, and it looks smart for yeah business wear. So, but yeah, that whole conditioning thing and being kind of having a go-to brand in your mind for a certain product is so powerful. Um, and I guess one thing which from looking smart and clean in a new shirt, I did see an advert the other day um, for floor mopping, and just on the the whole thing we were talking about earlier about how marketeers can try and like create a problem for you, which they then solve, was like the flash floor cleaner or something, and it's like a mop that you buy with the special new solution, which is now it's now their best solution. They've never had anything better, and your floor will be spotless, and it doesn't take any effort. Um, and everybody has the issue of trying to keep the floor clean, But I think it's quite interesting in that I think when I guess where the way that your brain might work is nobody wants to clean their floor, and you see this thing on TV, and it's like, now that is the newest, easiest way out of cleaning my floor. I'm therefore not going to do it now or do it tomorrow. I'm going to wait till I now have this new floor mopping solution, and then I use that floor mopping thing, and that's when I'm gonna, my life will be complete when my floor is mopped with this thing. And I mean, that's just one tiny example of a floor mopping liquid. But I guess this happens constantly to all sorts of different products and all sorts of different services. And I guess it's just tricking your brain in a way to be like, yes, you definitely need this. And I think it has the effect of you procrastinating to leave things to do it later. But also it's then continually you're on this continuous buying route um, of always getting more. I always think like looking at Gillette razor blades, they seem to just keep adding more blades every time I see an advert. Um, but it's that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know if there's like a science why they do that or what that means for your brain.
Yeah, there's definitely some science, and I've got an interesting thing about razors as well that I'll mention too, because a kind of a swap I've made with that. In terms of brains creating needs for things, so your brain is an amazing thing, right? Firstly, it's got the texture of toothpaste. Not that I've ever pushed a brain. I've heard from a medical student I spoke to before that if you poke a brain, it feels like toothpaste. But as an aside, when we feel like we're not enough, we're not achieving something, and we feel like everyone else has something figured out, and everyone else's floors are sparklingly clean because it's all you see on TV. And before you arrive at someone's house, they'll spend an hour cleaning and scrubbing, so it always looks immaculate. When 99% of the time, it perhaps doesn't look like that. It can make you reflect on your own floor in this example. We're going heavy on floors, right? And then you'll think, oh, actually, I'm struggling to get all this done because I'm working really hard. I haven't got the energy to do any of that. And then bam, you see an advert for this, and your brain's like, oh, peace at last. I cannot think about this anymore because all I need to do is buy the thing, wait for the thing to arrive, and then as soon as I get that, all my life will be complete, and these things will go away. And what actually happens, the act of purchasing that is only temporary, and then we wait a really short time now for it to arrive. It used to be every parcel took 4 days to 5 days or whatever, and that was just the norm. Now you order something on a Sunday evening, it's with you Monday
Yeah,
afternoon,
yeah.
and the time spent in between is a lot less. So you keep repeating that behavior. And what that does is condition your brain to think, oh, if I've got a problem, I can spend money to get rid of it. That is true in some cases. It's not true in other cases where you have to combine money to buy a product and then add effort to do it. If it's something where you can just buy, say, I don't know, train ticket on the way home because it's raining, that's problem. Money as a solution to buy you something like that. You're not having to wait that period. And it's this constant feeling of like repetition that goes around, and we feel like we're missing out on something that everyone else is doing. And when we feel like that, we feel a little bit isolated, and it goes against our core physiology. So the reason, Alex, that you and I are alive is because every generation of our family has remained alive. They've not wandered off from the pack and been eaten by a lion or whatever. They've not eaten kind of some dodgy plants and died or anything like that. They've done what's safe and what the majority of everyone else has done, which is why isolation is such
Yes.
a kind of an inbuilt problem for humans. We don't fundamentally feel safe when we do things that aren't part of like a unit or a pack. You can a real clear example of this is something like the mob mentality, where lots of people get together and just stuff happens. Things happen,
Hmm.
things get a bit out of control, just because one person believes that someone else believes differently to them, and it just kind of amps everyone else up, and we lose that rational thought. I think marketing plays a huge role in that, and it uses it to their advantage, which is why they're so highly paid, and they're very good at parting us with our cash. So you hear a lot of it with upgrade this every year, and if you don't have this thing,
Hmm.
then you must not be working hard enough, and or you've worked really hard, you deserve this. And it's constantly firing messages into your brain about you needing something different to what you have. And the counterculture of that is kind of mindfulness, meditation, existing, and just being who you are, where you're at. And everyone looks forwards for things. And then we compare upwards, not downwards. So I compare myself with someone who earns multiples of what I earn per year and I'll be like, oh, I wish I earned that much money. But what I don't do is look at people who earn less than me and people who have less, because it doesn't give me there's I don't think it serves the inbuilt thing of achievement in people's brains of setting a goal and achieving it. And it adds a huge part of like not tax, but it's taxing for your brain to constantly be in that state of I feel like this, but I should feel like that, so I'll do something else to fill that in, and it's a lot of mental clutter, in my opinion. And I've really worked hard on the over the last year or two to help reduce as much of that as I can, and I can genuinely say I feel better from it of actually being a bit reflective and thinking about how far I've come, not necessarily where I'm getting to.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting and it really resonates because I think certainly, I mean, being a graduate, I've worked in big companies and you're always getting, um, even just like working in them, you know, you're getting compared against your peers constantly to move like to the next level or get, you know, promotions or pay rises or, and then you can see the fruits of people's pay rises and bonuses and they're coming to work with different, you know, might be watches or handbags or going on more exotic holidays. There's always this almost culture of more and more and more and more. And it's a, I think it's really important what you said about trying to look back from where you've come from, and it's like it's your own race, and it isn't this. And ultimately, you're never gonna end up if it's such a losing game comparing yourself to others, because what you end up comparing yourself ultimately to Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk or some or Bill Gates, if in terms of who has the most money and who can buy the most thing, and it just isn't. It ultimately it's a losing game, but it's quite hard, and I personally find it tricky to like detach, and I've definitely got better at it, and I'm doing it more consciously. But there is still something that you are not. Yeah, like oh, you see the every advert on TV, they're all so aspirational and almost pointing out the things that you don't have yourself, which then make you feel a bit more inferior. Like I think I mentioned it before on one of the pods, but I think if you look at some of the advertisements for some of like the really high-end brands, if they use models in them, like often the models are like looking above you or like they're not making eye contact and come across as like quite aloof in a way where it's like, ah, this person is wearing those, might be a coat or a handbag or a watch or whatever it might be. And when I read about that and I started to look at the adverts, I saw some for Burberry, I think it was, and like whoever the model is, like you can see like they're like looking into the distance past you in this way of like, well, you're not good enough because you're not wearing what I'm wearing in a kind of very subtle, weird way. Um, but it's really interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think that would have an impact on you, whether you register it or not in your mind. Your brain will register that,
Mm,
and it will cause, I think, even a small shift in your emotional state and how you feel. And I think if you're constantly being subjected to that, it is going to have like an effective impact. Like it will affect your mood in
yeah.
terms of how happy you feel if you're comparing yourself or not. I do have a follow up question, if that's all right.
Mm,
With all these adverts and things that we see and we hear, and I don't have any stats on how many someone in the UK sees or hears every day, but I probably bet that it's in the thousands. Are you someone who pays to remove adverts? Like, do you have like YouTube Premium, Spotify Premium, etc.?
I've got Spotify Premium, but mainly just because I can download the songs and keep them and listen to them offline. And but I don't have
Mm-hmm.
YouTube Premium. I seem to just get targeted with courses on real estate and share trading, to be honest, on my
Do
videos.
you?
But but even then, it's like you'll see, and I guess it's the curse of social media in a way where people are selling. It's like somebody stood outside a massive mansion, which they, you know, more than likely don't own, telling you how to trade foreign exchange or how to do just that one real estate deal or the commercial property deal, and that'll make you a millionaire. It's up, but on the same vein as you don't have that. You are, you're watching a video and this is the target for, the
Mm.
algorithm says you should be interested in it. I think
Yeah.
and it's consciously you've got to like try and block it out. And but yeah, how about you? Do you pay to remove the adverts?
Yes and no. It's kind of portraying, like, especially those kind of adverts. I get similar ones. It's like you're not me. You don't have the things I look like I have, but you could if you do X, Y, and Z. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of it's if you buy this course,
Yeah.
buy this book, blah blah blah, do this thing. Basically, part with money, and that money at some point will end up with that person, and you end up poorer
Yeah.
and just with another feeling of an obligation or an expectation that you're not quite at that level. And I think there's never enough kind of talk or uh, kind of content around. If you're born kind of in a Western country, life is much easier for you. You have the majority of things you could ever need. And if you're just comparing yourself upwards, you are going to feel these negative emotions. Whereas if you are more content with what you have, and I do think there is a bit of a push towards a counterculture of this, but if you're more content with what you have, you would remove a lot of these negative emotions and recognize what essentially are consistent sales pitches um, towards you. But yeah, I don't have something like YouTube Premium. Every time I watch YouTube, it's probably my main form of video media, to be honest, that and Reddit. I'm not a TV person particularly, but then I will watch YouTube, so they're similar. But no, I've not been able to justify that. But if I added all the YouTube kind of videos that I watch and the hours I put in per month, the ability to remove those adverts, it would probably cost me, I don't know, something like 10p an advert, 5p an advert or something, and I'd probably pay that.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's because I think all these there's so many adverts. I mean, I work in Amazon advertising, so I know exactly how aggressive and how clever the adverts are, and they're only getting cleverer. Um, the and it's that thing of it becomes so easy to create that sense of you are inferior and therefore you need to spend your money to get to be at the same level. Um, I think even just having an awareness of it, I think helps because like I, I I wouldn't say I'm completely immune to adverts. I think I'm pretty almost there. I can see them for what they are, but I don't. I
Hmm.
very rarely have seen something advertised and then gone out and bought it on an impulse or anything. But I think it's if people are listening and finding themselves constantly almost through the stream of social media ads or the TV ad and feeling that then needing to I feel the pressure to spend the money in order to get to that next level. It's complete like it's just such a false economy because in 3 or 4 months' time there'll be something new that comes out. It's like Fairy Liquid is I mean very cheap, but very another example. There must be about 15 variants of Fairy Liquid. It's like but Fairy Liquid has been around since like probably I think the 1940s and is perfectly good at washing dishes. Yet either there's Platinum and Power Plus or whatever they are. It's mad. It's like, but ultimately you're washing your dishes, and if the thing works and it does a good job, then don't bother trading up. I think often with these kind of adverts and the psychology of it, it's like, oh no, the thing that you bought last time, that's rubbish now. Like it's completely obsolete. You now need this new one. And then it leads into that cycle of, oh yeah, of course, I definitely need that, whether that be the new £1,500 iPhone or the new £4 washing up liquid or the £10 bottle of floor cleaner. But you add that up year after year after year, and fundamentally you've got, you know, the thing you started with is perfectly good. You just end up in this false thing, and it eats up it's ultimately eating up your money and eating up your ability to buy your time back. So it comes with quite a high cost.
Definitely. And we've talked about the value of time and your true hourly rate and things before, but just a
Mm,
small thing. I've just had a quick Google. Apparently, Fairy Liquid or Fairy is as a brand owned by Procter and Gamble, which own, to be honest, a lot of brands. A lot of anything you buy in a
Yeah.
supermarket will be linked back to Procter and Gamble. That's not a food item. The brand originated in the United Kingdom in 1898.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Mental. That's a really, really long time ago. And yeah, and how many versions of Fairy Liquid do you need in that time? The only thing I will say is the most recent one I bought has got a different lid, which stops it being messy and spills. So I do enjoy that part of it. But apart from that, the colours make no sense to me. The smells make very little sense as well. My one thing is, does it clean?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, then I'll probably buy it. That said, I wash up very little. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of dishwashers on that one. So I don't know if I would pay to remove adverts. I'm getting more and more annoyed by YouTube and Spotify adverts, to be honest with you. But as things move towards like a subscription model, like YouTube back in the day was great because there was no adverts, no nothing, and it was just like kind of content made by people for other people. Now a lot of it is brand related and it's marketing and it's this adverts before, in the middle and after videos, etc. Not a huge fan of it. And it's kind of directed towards you. So you will see different adverts to me. Someone else listening will see different adverts to both of us. And it's just, again, repetition of targeting you for those like specific things. I think eventually I will get to the point where I'm just like, I cannot sit through 2 minutes of adverts per video that I'd like to watch. And you kind of get to the point where it's not painful, but it's annoying enough for you to want to pay to remove those.
Yeah.
And I just think they're testing the water on what level of kind of not pain, but not even discomfort, because it's not physically uncomfortable. It's like mental discomfort, I think, of having to wait for this and sit through something else, which is a symptom of this rapid culture we have, like see Amazon delivery speed, etc. But in terms of that, I mean, we're getting to the point now where all the subscription models are paid and the cheaper ends of the subscription model contain adverts anyway. So you're not even paying to remove them. You're just paying, I imagine, for access to a service with adverts. But if you pay us twice as much, you can have the service without adverts. And I think it's testing consumers' ability to tolerate it.
Yeah. And there will be hundreds of incredibly well-paid software engineers and economists working out what is that tipping point at Google for
Wherever.
when at what point do customers start dropping off and not using your service because of ads, or at what point do they then flip over to pay? So yeah, it's mind-blowing. But yeah, I think the whole thing of like the subscription model as well is one of those things where it seems to be, you can get subscriptions for everything now, from beer to like the fancy meal kits to even like boxer shorts and toilet roll I saw before. It's just like suddenly everything's this subscription model, and I guess it's that thing of you're convinced that, oh yeah, that's the problem you need to solve, is you can't be bothered going to the shop, so I'm going to save you time, but the impact is I'm just going to keep sending this thing to you, and when you've been having this for a year, you're conditioned to having it, and I can just increase the price every now and again, and it like creeps up on you, and then suddenly you've got you fast forward 5 years and you've got 15 subscriptions for household items, and your brain, I guess, just gets used to it and conditioned to it.
Yeah, absolutely gets used to it, and it becomes normal. And the idea of not having those and having to go back to doing more mental and physical effort seems like an absolute waste of your energy, because it can just be kind of sent to you. A really good example of this, actually, is I went to see my mum over the weekend. She's had a bit of surgery, but is recovering nicely. She had a subscription model to the company Smol or something, that sends you kind of dishwasher tablets, laundry stuff, washing up liquid, etc. She originally got enticed by an offer for like some money. They send you one of everything, and it's quite a good deal in terms of the amount of produce you get. But it signs you up to a repeat subscription. And when I went there, she's got 6 or 7 cartons of washing up liquid refills. And like, again, she has a dishwasher,
Mm,
doesn't wash that much stuff up. And I was like, Mum, why have you got 7 of these in your cupboard? And she was like, I don't know, they just keep sending it to me and I keep paying for it. Can we look over the subscription? And I was like, yeah, of course. But we managed it, but it wasn't simple to do.
mm,
There are separate pages for everything you have delivered. So she had washing up liquid, dishwasher tablets, laundry liquid, laundry softener, something else, and there was like 6 or 7 things there, and they were all being sent to her far too often.
yeah.
And as a result, she ends up having loads of these extra products, and she even gave me some to bring home. And I was like, well, I mean, I'll take it, but let's change the subscription model and save you a bit of money ongoing. But then once you're sucked into that, you then it gives your brain a bit of a break, thinking that actually I don't have to think about this anymore because some other company somewhere is taking care of that. And then doing the opposite, going back and managing it yourself, automatically seems harder than it
Yes.
needs to.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think I'm sure if there's any listeners on who have had experiences with these or know of any others, it'd be great to hear. But I think it's so easy now to get kind of sucked in and conditioned into this stuff. But I think it's really important to recognize when it's happening so you can take action and probably know that is not, you can probably continue living if you have to, buy your own boxer shorts in a shop or buy
Yeah,
your own
remember to buy
your
something else.
your laundry product, whatever. It's not gonna it
Definitely.
won't, wreck your life. But yeah.
No, absolutely not. And I think you kind of got to go through it to feel it. Um, in terms of that, what I would say, just swinging it back to finances, if you do think you've got these things kind of ongoing and you're listening to this on the way to work, at lunch, or whatever, carve out a little bit of time in your day and just have a look at your previous month's bank statement and just see if you've got anything there that you don't need. Any kind of subscription model that you have that you've had for a long time that perhaps you don't use, perhaps you don't get value from it anymore, that's all money that you have to spend. And to spend it, you have to earn it, and then you get taxed on it. So you've had to earn, in some cases, much more money to be able to spend that money because you get taxed and you pay national insurance, which is another form of a tax. It should be called national tax, and all sorts of other stuff on it. So do be a little bit critical. Question whether you need it. Do you want it? Does it give you enough value out of that? And cancel any ones you don't. And essentially, you're giving yourself a pay rise, and also you're reducing your financial independence number and effectively bringing that date closer to the age you are now.
Yeah, completely agree. That's really good. Yeah, really good shout. It's probably one of the um, most valuable time that you can spend is actually reviewing all your bank statements. And I think a lot of the new banking apps now it's quite easy to see what direct debits are going out and stuff. So and it's really easy to cancel them. So yeah, I'd wholeheartedly agree with that. I think it'd be really valuable use of your time.
Yeah, agreed. And I was just thinking, like, if you find one thing for like, I don't know, £10 a month, for example, and you you get rid of that over 10 years, that will save you over £1,200. Assuming I've added kind of the tax here and stuff that you'd pay on that as well. And that's an awful lot of money for something that you're essentially not throwing away, but you're not getting the value out of the hard earned money that you've spent. And I'm a big fan of divvying it up in pay in terms of real terms, real hours that you get paid. So we've talked about your real hourly rate. And then if you have, say, a subscription for £10 and your hourly rate is, I don't know, twice that or half of it, is it worth you working for an hour? Is it worth you working for half an hour per month to have that? Is it worth working for 2 hours? Who knows? Like, work it out for your own situation, but really question whether you're getting the value for the money that you work really hard to earn. And if you don't, cancel it, test it, see what your life is like without the thing, the service, or the product, and then see if you want it back. If you do want it back, then have it, and you've tested it properly, that's fine. I think in a lot of times, your brain will revert back to, okay, this is now the new normal. I'll deal with it a slightly different way. And you've saved yourself a pocket full of cash.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree there, Alex.
Yeah, I've got no other thoughts on that or money psychology. Have you got anything else you'd like to bring, or should we end this one here?
No, I think we've covered gone through shirts to floor cleaner to very liquid
Yeah.
and subscription boxer shorts. So I think we've covered the psychology of that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
comprehensive,
that's
isn't
it.
it? It's comprehensive. Okay, so thank you, Alex, for your time, and thank you to all of you that are listening. If you have any questions or you want to just give us some feedback, like Paul, we like Paul. So if you wanted to just email us, you could. Our address is just nursingyourwaytowealth@gmail.com. It'll be written below, kind of in some show notes as well, done by our editing chap, Caspian. Caspian, we appreciate all you do, my friend. That's episode 39. We'll see you next week for episode 40, which I feels like a bit of a milestone.
Yeah, I think thanks very much. And yeah, give us a 5-star if you can. If you think we deserve it, that would be great.
That's it. 5 stars for 40 episodes.
That's it. Yeah, that can be our prize.
None of what we discuss on the show is to be considered financial or health advice, and we recommend you always do your own research or consult an independent financial advisor or a doctor when making your financial or health decisions.